What you're about to hear and see may well disturb you, but please keep an open mind. You may find that the information offered on Cosmic Connection differs from anything in your previous experience. The views and opinions discussed here are not necessarily those of the organization broadcasting this program, and they are certainly not endorsed by the government of this United States of America. Our government continually seeks to suppress the investigation of unidentified flying objects and all other subjects of a like nature. These opinions, however, are not the views of hucksters or charlatans trying to exaggerate the importance of the message in order to exploit the public for their own gain. On Cosmic Connection, you'll see and hear from honest, thoughtful people whose only desire is to understand the remarkable experiences they've been party to. To shed light is our motive here, and in that spirit, let me now welcome you to the Cosmic Connection and to your host, the Cosmic Connector.
UFO spotted in South Korea. For the week ending January 5th, 1996, as reported in the Oregonian, South Korean Air Force personnel monitored a donut-shaped object that hovered over a provincial park in Taegu. According to the news agency Yonhap, the strange object glowed with a luminous red light and passed silently over the hilly park. Radio and television stations were swamped with reports of unidentified flying object, and a large crowd gathered to watch it move across the sky. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Cosmic Connection, January 21st, 1996. Ron, on this UFO in South Korea, do you recall hearing about this?
I heard a little bit about it as far as the sighting information, but other than that, nothing more than just the information that was relayed through the media.
This article was brought to my attention from a viewer to our program, stating that this is the first time he has ever seen a UFO pictured in the science section on the Thursday's Oregonian. So this is very unusual for this type of publication to actually announce. So this must have been a pretty big event for the Oregonian to have reported this.
Well, it sounds like the majority of the newspapers that I understand will not publish photos as such. So this is surprising that they did publish the photo and the information on this.
Yes, yes, indeed. Now, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You may call us at 667-7434. This is the Cosmic Connection. We are live. I am the Cosmic Connector. This is January 26th. In studio today, we have Dana Fox, a hypnotherapist, and a lady by the name of Patty Nelson, who claims to have unusual ET encounters, and we will get to that later. I'd like to take care of some old business first. So if you have any questions dealing with abductions, this will be the program that we will cover this on. This is a live call-in talk show dealing with the UFO phenomenon. Whatever. Also would like to thank the fine folks, Roberta Aguilera, out at the La Costa Mexican Restaurant at 7425 Southwest Barber Boulevard, Portland, Oregon, 97219. I'd like to thank them very much for their fine fiesta platters and the Mexican cuisines. They have an outstanding area there where you can order these fine, delicious entrees, watch your favorite Super Bowl team win the Super Bowl for next weekend out at the La Costa Mexican Restaurant. And we thank them very much for their participation in making things happen here for the Cosmic Connection. Also, I'd like to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, I've been in touch with a lady. She is the director, the national director for the Center of Crop Circle Studies, United States Network, and she has presented the Cosmic Connection with the 1996 calendar. This is that calendar, that picture right there, that formation that you're seeing on your screen is known as the Missing Earth Formation. Now, these patterns and these crop circles shown in this calendar arrived in the fields of England during the 95 crop growing season. Needless to say, we will be showing you various pictures throughout this beautiful calendar that you can order from the Center of Crop Circle Studies, and we will give that address out later on in the program. Now, these crop circles, in my opinion, are so elaborate that for those of you out there who are familiar with Doug and Dave, these two fine gentlemen who claimed to have said that they strapped boards on their feet and walked through these farmers' fields and made these beautiful, elaborate patterns. In my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, Doug and Dave cannot perform this duty and to make this missing Earth formation as it's known, as Ilis has told me. She has also asked me to look in our planetarium. For those of you out there who are familiar with being astronomers or whatnot, in the year from 2001 to 2012, if those of you out there could look up this crop formation and to see when this might happen, she's stating that this is that formation that you saw on the cover of that calendar has something to do or is foretelling an event that will happen with the planets in that particular in that particular pattern, stating that there's a missing Earth formation. I've tried to look that up. I couldn't find it on my computer. Maybe some of those of you are out there who are more knowledgeable in the field could look it up, and that's not that particular formation that we're showing you there. It was the first one. So just if you've recorded this program, go back to that and see if you can help Agnes or myself out. Now, the crop circles showed in this calendar, like I said, arrived in the fields in England during 1995 crop growing season, and over the past 15 years, however, the crop circle phenomenon has been documented in countries around the world. Now, in 1994, the United States received 20 formations. In 95, we've located only 3 to date: Oregon, Kansas, and California. Although not as many crop circles were received this year as last, clearly their beauty and complexity continue to evolve. Now, Ron, you have told me about these sand formations. Would you elaborate on that?
Yeah, incidentally, last year, Cape Arch, which is on the Oregon coast, Ilis had visited a sand circle, which was in an area that was very hard to access, by anybody.
That's important.
In fact, sightings, I believe the show sightings had some videotape or stills of the sand circle. Of course, with the waves coming in and the tide, the sand circle wasn't there very long, but sand circles are very rare. Also with that, we get the ice circles in the middle of lakes, which there are no footprints or any trail leading to it. So this is a phenomenon that we're still trying to figure out what the key is to.
A sand circle, a sand formation, I believe this is the first one we've ever heard of.
First one I've ever heard of myself, but this was at Cape Arch over on the Oregon coast, northern Oregon coast. I believe Cape Arch is close around the Warrington area.
Outstanding, outstanding. Now, like I said, Ilis has made this crop circle calendar available to the Cosmic Connection. And if you'd like more information or would like to order a 1996 crop circle formation calendar, you may write it to and care of the Center for Crop Circle Studies United States Network, Post Office Box 900, Tenino, Washington 98589. Or you may call the Cosmic Connection after the program at 667-7434, and we'll let you, we'll make it available to you. We'll let you know how you can make this particular calendar available to you. All right, so let's get underway. Dana Fox, Patty Nelson, welcome to the program.
Hi.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for appearing, being on our program today. We have an unusual story for you, ladies and gentlemen. We are dealing with abductions and the abduction phenomenon. And Dana Fox, why don't you tell us a little bit about it yourself? You are a hypnotherapist, is that correct?
Yes, I'm a hypnotherapist here in Portland.
And you have been on this program before?
Yes, a couple of times. And an area that I specialize in is in assisting contactees into coming into a greater sense of completion with their experience with their contact with extraterrestrials. And whatever way that may be, whether it's abduction, contact of some kind, feeling like they're having some sort of a ongoing relationship with extraterrestrials. And my work seems to be moving in that direction, away from those who are simply trying to clear the trauma of abduction, per se.
All right, and you've been doing this for some years now.
About 5 years.
Outstanding. Now, we'd like to introduce Patty Nelson. Hello, Patty.
Hello, Cosmo.
Welcome to the program. You have an unusual story to tell us.
Well, I do. I've never been abducted, so to say, by anyone. I've never had any fear. I've never had anything but kindness shown, although I have had several encounters through hypnosis to where I've felt that I've had contact. And basically, I would like to report that when I've had only one dream where I had something I wanted to talk to Dana about, and I said, okay, now I've never had a dream about being abducted. I've never had anything to fear, although I've always felt close to ETs, and I felt that, for instance, the first time I ever saw Star Wars and saw the Cantina Band, that everyone in there was normal. I don't see other people that I guess would be called aliens to be weird or that different. I just feel like they're from another space or place. And I have not studied ETs per se, but during this dream, it was a little two-part dream, and I felt it necessary to tell Dana because I lost a little time in there, and I thought hypnotherapy may help me out to get some answers. And it happened just that way. In this dream, I was inside of a car, and all I saw was the dash and part of the steering wheel and the ignition, which was on the steering column. As I put a key into the column to start the car, everything just stopped. I froze. I was a male, which I guess the hypnotherapists find unusual to dream that you're a different sex. It didn't seem abnormal to me at that time. There was another man who was a friend of some kind in the car with me. I don't know where we were going. But at that time, everything stood still, and there was a glow that came inside the car, and it seemed to radiate heat and a glowing red light. It was not a flashing light, and it wasn't brilliant or shining, but there was a warmth to it, and I say that I started to shake, but I believe I probably was vibrating at a certain rate. However, I was cataleptic, I couldn't move, and neither could my friend. I lost that part. The next time I came into that dream, which was seconds later, I suppose, I was to put the key into the ignition again, knowing that I had to do this. I knew for some reason that there wouldn't be a question of should I or can I needed to. And yet I knew that the same experience, whatever it was going to happen again. So I was a little, I wasn't quite so fearful as I was tentative, because I knew that whatever it was okay. I wasn't to be harmed, but I also wasn't especially looking forward to it.
Sure. Have you been subjected to examinations like abductees have claimed?
Not exactly an examination. During the hypnosis that followed, we went back into that time so that we could pick up what happened between the two spaces of that dream. And I was taken out of the vehicle, out of body. I was actually lifting out whether or not I wouldn't call it abducting or kidnapping or anything else. I seem to have been assisted, however, and out into an area where this friend and I both were floating, and I could describe our bodies. Our bodies actually, where our physical bodies were back in the car, still not moving. They didn't seem to be concerned with that. And it was rather maybe a little groggy or dreamy state I felt in, but I felt like that was fine. I wasn't afraid. And I could see something sitting on what appeared to be a table, and I couldn't see the table sitting on anything. But this looked like what I would describe as a radiator, the looks of it, but it was in two sections. The first section was probably 4 feet wide, and it had like slats or slits, I would say, in it, or openings across. And the second layer of it was just the same, except there were parts of it that were like 2 feet tall.
So is this an examination table with tools and devices around it?
No, there were no devices around it at all, Cosmo. In fact, I knew for some reason that we were to pass through this machine. It was like a filter of some kind.
Oh, no kidding.
And I don't know how I knew this, but I remember being surprised because I thought that we would pass through from this other angle. I just thought that was normal. But it turned out that we were to pass through this back side, which I would call the back side of it. And I don't know why I should be concerned one way or the other, but it didn't scare me. It was very cold. It was colder passing through it than it was being out there, and it was still a little cool. There were beings there that were asking us or wishing us to go through. This turned out to be
like gatekeepers or something.
right.
They were there to greet you?
Yes, they were there with the machine. It was theirs.
Sure.
So we were supposed to be passing through there for some reason.
And what did these beings look like?
The beings had rounded heads on the top. Their chin was not quite oval, it was a little more pointy. Their eyes were not round, they were more of a slitty type eyes, but very kind. I didn't really notice a mouth, but they communicated in smiles, and I think I rather felt that more than saw it. The communication was very friendly, it was all willing, it was by, they said, a prior visit. And I believe that I've never been taken anywhere. I just go places, and I do it by consent. When we went through this particular filter, it turned out to be a scanner. And it was not something that changed the molecules or atoms of our body. Everything was the same when we returned to our bodies, except we actually went through a purifying process to where we were maybe a little more focused and tuned in to universal connection and so forth when we came back. So it was to our benefit along with theirs. The scanning process actually scanned our energy systems. It allowed them to record everything that went on in all of our systems.
Amazing, amazing. I elected to have you on our program. I have read many books of abductions, and I find your story very compelling, very, very interesting. And it's just one more story to add to this phenomenon. Dana, your opinion of this?
I feel that Patty passed through a dimensional barrier where she was in another dimension of life that's of a higher consciousness than the average human. The more Patty does this, the more it seems as though she is kind of like a go-between, so that we can have communications with these beings who are definitely not from planet Earth. And they're definitely much more highly evolved in terms of their awareness and what they're conscious of and capable of than we are. And every being that I've met through hypnosis with Patty has been very, how shall I say, benevolent, loving, heart-centered, and certainly not a threat in any way. I would be very pleased to meet them one-to-one someday.
Sure. Ron, any questions?
Yeah, Patty, first off, my compliments to you. It takes a lot of courage to come on the show, and luckily we're off camera. So, just a couple of questions, Patty. On religious background, we're finding that a lot of, and I don't like the term abductee. I feel that experiencer is more of a title that I would use. In your experiences, encounters, as you must, has there been any correlation with a religious type of a meaning behind any of your encounters at all?
I tend to lean toward calling it more spiritual than religious. I think that maybe the word religious would put some boundaries on it that aren't necessary.
Because I find too that with a lot of the experiencers out there that even with a person that has a religious background or a religious upbringing, that they'll take a lot of these encounters as based on the religious upbringing, and again too with most people, and your term of spiritual, which I find more meaningful to me as what I do. Do you feel in your heart that their involvement with the religion as the world as we see it, do you believe that their involvement has something to do with all the religions of the world in some aspect?
With the ETs?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that they go way beyond that, but yes, I do. I feel that what some of the information that I've brought back from these people, where Dana assists me in blending sometimes with one of these beings so that the information can pass and be helpful to us. I think that's the only reason that I'm able to connect with them. And it's to letting everyone know on this planet that one religion or another religion has nothing to do with it, or no religion at all, as much as the blending of all of us working toward the same thing. And we're all peacefully, hopefully, interneting to where we're all part of the same energy. And sometimes we try to separate ourselves. Humans, that's just the thing humans do. And you really can't. We have different bodies, we have different attitudes and all that, but basically we're all made out of the same stuff. We use the same energy, which is universal energy. And if one religion wants to, for instance, call it God, another religion wants to call it something else, it goes way beyond that, ties it all together with that's all there is.
How about any physical traces to where you may have been in contact with these people in a physical sense? Scoop marks, puncture wounds?
Oh, no, I've never been injured by any of them. I've been scanned, and I have scanned other people.
You've scanned other people?
Right.
So you've worked for them?
This was a different set of beings. But at that time, I was what you might call, not a doctor here, but an investigator, whatever. We had a machine that also scanned people only for their energy systems and information. No one was harmed. And this was in a large room. It was on a craft. It was very cold. The nitrogen was very high. And we had people came to us. They looked in every form you could imagine, and that was not unusual.
Dana brought up at the beginning of the program, before we went on the air, about a service with many different species of alien types. Is that correct, Dana?
This was a website I discovered while cruising on the internet in Sweden, where they had drawings of like the right eye, different extraterrestrial humanoid-like beings from various and sundry places.
Right.
Very nice drawings. I wish I had that website with me to give you over the show. Maybe next show I'll give it to you.
How is it obtained for people out in the audience?
Well, if I'm a little bit new at this, but if you get logged in, you go to Yahoo.
Yes, I've
For
heard
those of you
of
who know
that.
what this is, Yahoo.
Sure, go ahead.
Yahoo is a way of organizing your search.
And the call letters?
That's why I had to look them up.
All right, so we'll get that
Sorry.
later.
I'll
We'll
give
make
it to
that
you later.
available to the people out there. Now, I look forward to this. Let's take a call. Would you guys like to take some calls? All right, ladies and gentlemen, call us at 667-7434. And now let's take a call. Do you have a question for Patty or Dana Fox? Hello, welcome.
Hello? 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 Are you guys there? Hello?
Okay, looks like our phone system is malfunctioning today, so we'll continue with this discussion. Now, following your hypnotherapy, how has your life changed? I imagine it has in your way of thinking.
Yes, Cosmo, I believe that, for instance, knowing that we're all connected and that there's never any hopelessness for anyone, regardless of religion or thoughts or belief systems. All is beyond that, and I believe that what they're basically teaching is actually our golden rule. If everyone were to treat everyone else like they want to be treated, then a lot of things will go more spiritually, satisfactorily, we'll have more harmony.
Well, this is in your opinion.
These are the things that I've been told.
From the
by
beings?
other beings.
Oh, is that right?
Right. What I believe one of my jobs is, as Dana was saying, is reporting, you might say, some of the things that I'm able to come up with in hypnotherapy while he is allowing me to blend with some of these characters.
Outstanding. Ron?
Patty, a couple of questions. I could sit and talk with you for hours. I have a ton of questions for you, but I'll just hit you with a couple. You mentioned earlier about an out-of-body experience on one of your encounters. It's been noted with a lot of experiences out there, the out-of-body experience, almost a dimensional shift for the experiencers. Any near-death experience in your past at all?
No, I have read a lot on near-death experiences. I've never had one. While I was out of the body, however, in this particular one, when I went through the scanner, I could describe my body if you like. The way that we looked was, it was a form, a rather rectangle form that was maybe, I'd say 8 inches high and about 2.5 feet long and maybe 1.5 feet across. And it was energy. You could not see through it. It had some form, and it was a whitish appearance. And I could guess, I would say between a cotton and a cloud, somewhere in there. It's not something I could see through. And my friend looked the same way. So that was the body out of our bodies, which were in physical form in the car. We left them behind, and we were told that they didn't really need to examine or scan those kind of bodies because for centuries our skin really hasn't changed all that much, and that was old news. They weren't interested in the package as they were in the system.
That's fascinating. One other question that I have for you, Patty. With your experience, you had mentioned the scanner portion, and I'll hit this at one at a time. The scanner, any physical, was the scanner actually something physically you could see, feel?
Right, yes. This was the thing that I explained as looking like a radiator. Only it was like a double-stacked radiator. The look of it, although it was silver and it was sitting on a table. So it was like a machine of some kind, and I thought of it as a filter. I was told that it was a scanner.
So now this
We went
moved
through it.
Oh, you moved through it.
We moved through it, and we knew that we were to move through it. And they told us that it was not normal for people to go through or to do this in couples or two at a time. Even though we were scanned separately, we went through together. They said usually one person at a time. It's always by willingness that you agree to do this.
Now, you had mentioned earlier that you have assisted with other experiencers as far as the examination. Is that correct?
I don't call it an examination. I've never been poked or prodded
Okay.
or examined, and I've never done that to anyone else. We've simply scanned the systems
All righty.
in for harmony.
In one of Whitney Strieber's books, Breakthrough, he mentions about his family and friends who have also experienced because of his encounters. Are you finding that maybe friends or relatives are experiencing maybe not the same thing as you, but something similar as far as your experience?
As my friends and relatives?
Right.
No.
Or people that are close to you?
I think some of my close people are becoming more spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as ET contact, no.
Okay. Actually, that was my next question also, along the spiritual level. About how long ago did you realize that you started experiencing the encounters? Any psychic abilities or visions in the
Yes,
past?
I've had an ability to tune into other humans for, I guess, forever. I just never realized it till maybe 20 years ago.
Do you feel that in some ways you have psychic abilities?
Well, I have abilities. I don't know if you'd, I don't like the word psychic particularly, but I have a way of tuning in, as a lot of people do, and I call it intuition.
Okay, because we're finding with a lot of experiencers that for some reason something's opened up in the human mind where it's like a computer is programmed to do so much, and all of a sudden somebody slaps in another disc to give it more information, and a lot of experiencers are feeling that they're opening up to
Right.
almost a new awakening, or focusing on a lot of different avenues of life, taken as far as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a big light comes on. Is that how you feel sometimes, or most of the time?
Yes, I do feel like that. I've always felt a connection, and I never really knew why. When Star Wars came out, I went to see it 16 times. The first 13 were right in a row. After the first 4, I couldn't afford to take my children anymore. I snuck out and went alone.
And I thought
just had
18
to
times
because
was a
there
lot.
was too much. I mean, it was the first thing that came out that really made sense to me.
And that-
I knew I'd been there.
And that movie's made an awakening for you.
Oh, Cosmo, I believe that.
Sure,
Yes.
sure. Now, Dennis, I'd like to have him explain some of the video that we've been showing. Dennis, what types of video have we been seeing here? And maybe he could elaborate for some of the background of this video that we've been showing. Dennis? Okay. Can we take a phone call here at 667-7434? And if Dennis has any questions for our guests. Hi, hello, welcome to the
Hello?
Connection. Hi.
Hi. Hello?
Yes, welcome.
I was curious if you could tell me how you know if you've been abducted for sure, or if it might be just a dream.
Very good. Dana?
I couldn't hear him.
He would like to know the difference between how you know you've been abducted, if the difference between a dreaming or if it's really happened. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
I would say that if it happens in a dream or if it happens in another state, they're both equally real. What's most important is how you feel about it and the emotional impact it has on your life. So I would say value it as being real, regardless of where your memory is lodged.
So if I had a series of dreams, they could actually be a series of real abductions or experiences. Is that true, or would it just really be a dream?
You'll have to tell me what he said. I couldn't.
Could you repeat that and speak up, please, or have the monitor turned up a little louder?
If I had a series of like dreams, they could actually be real experiences with aliens then, depending on how it impacted me, right?
Absolutely.
So is there anywhere I can go to get this checked out?
Absolutely. You can have an appointment with with Dana Fox.
How do I get an appointment?
You may call Dana Fox at
244
Uh-huh.
1277.
And I should do that tomorrow?
At your convenience.
Okay.
Answering service.
Thank you, Dana.
One other thing, Cosmo, I'd like to bring up on...
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for calling for being on hold for so long. Go ahead.
Especially with a lot of folks out there. In fact, the latest issue of Omni recently took a poll on the average. If there are being abductions just here in the U.S. alone, with as many people as they feel that have been abducted, we're looking at about 2,400 abductions a day. With that also, there's a lot of influence, and with both the media, the movies, books out on abductions, the UFO phenomena, and basically with that you'll find it in a lot of, from Bud Hopkins to John Mack to Ray Fowler, that at times the books, the media, movies can influence the mind in certain ways. But again, with most of the people that I've talked to, have never read any books on UFOs or have never seen a movie on abductions. Again, too, that's not really my field as far as dream research, but I believe that the mind can, at times, replay something that someone had seen on TV. But again, there are experiencers out there that are going through this encounter. And I firmly believe that we have a major phenomenon going.
I think in relation with Patty here, am I correct that you saw Star Wars the first time that you saw it? The first time that you saw it, that started an awakening, correct?
Well, I felt that was the
It
first
triggered
time
something.
someone connected with my way of thinking. No.
All right. Do we have another call? Hi. Welcome to the Cosmic Connection.
Hello?
Turn that up.
Hello?
Yes. Go ahead.
I can't hear you very well. This is the December 5th sighting.
Do you have a question for our guests in studio?
Well, I'd like to address Patty
Sure. Go ahead.
and whoever else is interested. I'd like to thank her for mentioning the spiritual side of all this.
And your name, please?
Excuse me?
Your name?
I'm the December 5th sighting in Beaverton.
Okay.
I'd like to thank her. The description she gave of the table, the beings, the smiles, the communication, I have experienced all of those, and the feeling of no harm intended in every event that I was borrowed. And
Sure. Let me just. Patty probably doesn't know what you're mentioning here. From what I gather, this caller here was a witness to the December 5th sighting in Beaverton that we spoke of on our last program.
Right.
She has a connection, and she believes that she had just more than a sighting. Continue, please.
Continue. It was the experience that I've had has been telepathic communication, and Patty just mentioned all of these things.
Sure.
She was on the table. The description she gave of the beings, the smiles, the way of the meaning, the means of communication, especially the feeling of no harm was intended to her. I don't remember in such detail as she does, but I just wanted to tell her thank you, and thank you for mentioning the spiritual side of it, and it's not a religion thing, it is spiritual.
Thank you.
Okay. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, thank you very much, and we appreciate your contributing to this program.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
At 667-7434, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to write to the Cosmic Connection, you may write to us at Post Office Box 86, 186, Portland, Oregon, 97286. Please send a large self-addressed stamped envelope and a note stating what your preferences and what you're interested in on the UFO phenomenon. The crop circles that we are showing are presented by a lady by the name of Ilis. She is with the Center for Crop Circle Studies. She is the director coordinator of the United States Network, the Center for Crop Circle Studies, and her post office box is P.O. Box 900 to 90, Washington 98589. That's 98589. You may write to them, or you can call the Cosmic Connection at 667-7434 at the end of our program, and we'll let you know how to make that available. Continue. I can't see that. Go ahead. Just go ahead. See.
Okay, I got something I wanted to read from one of Patty's hypnotic journeys.
Outstanding. I think that'd be fine. Go ahead.
We do that? Okay.
Sure.
To give a little background on this, our last session, we directed Patty to go under hypnosis to an area inside of her where she has an active relationship or an active ongoing connection with an extraterrestrial being or a civilization of beings. She very quickly got into a trance and went to this place. And during our long hypnotic journey, I had asked the being to whom I was addressing through Patty if it had a message for humanity.
Excellent.
And I thought it might be nice to read this.
Sure.
It's a little bit sketchy here because this is from notes I took while we were doing it.
Right.
They said that our planet here is a place where people are making more trouble for themselves than they really need to. That we create a lot of troubles for ourselves unnecessarily. They said that we should be saying why not instead of always saying why. As if people are always saying why this, why.
Sure.
They recommend that we would be saying why not. They're saying that people who keep asking why aren't really asking for the answers. They're sort of stuck in a loop of always why. And they would recommend that we would say why not instead. And they had another message for humanity here. And it was very touching to hear it actually coming out of Patty's voice because it was very, very wonderful and very soft and...
Just to interrupt you,
Yes.
Where are we hearing these messages from? Is there a name? Is there a group name?
I asked her for a name, and the
You
being-
asked who? Her? Did you say
I
her?
asked, well, through her.
Through Patty.
He said his name was Sanji. Now I didn't ask where Sanji was from.
Right.
Just that my name is Sanji, and it's obviously in another dimension of life. So Sanji says to us, he said, "Stop right now and be very, very quiet. Quietly go inside yourself. Be at the core of your being, feeling relaxed and good about yourself. Relax and let yourself expand. Feel the warmth and light of expansion. Connect with every other being, being online with them. In doing that, discover your purpose in connection. Let your separateness dissolve." They spoke of the purpose of the all, that the all is the purpose, that all lights shine together and at peace. I thought that was really very wonderful from I gather from their point of view, separation is an alien concept. They don't feel separate at all. They feel at one and connected with all beings. And so they're kind of looking at us and they're recommending that we embrace this
Well,
oneness.
what comes to mind with the 45 minutes that we've been doing this program today, we're discussing the cozy, fuzzy, warm feeling of abductions, of alien interaction. And I want people out there to understand that, in my opinion, abductions is against our will. Something is going on. We're being probed. We're being, from reports, women are having humanoid babies taken from them. All kinds of mass hysteria, trauma, and this is the show we're doing. What I can understand with the program that we're having today, this is the kinder, gentler, pardon the pun there, or the phrase, a kinder, gentler type of happening, an experience that we're happening today. Dana, in your regressions, this has not always been the case.
No, it hasn't always been the case.
Would you find this unusual?
Well, in the people that I've been working with, I find this to be more the norm, and the traumatic abduction to be more unusual. Now, I don't know why. For some reason, I attract people who are on this energy wave where they're going to have a positive experience. I'm not saying it's completely positive because there's some fear involved, quite frequently.
Well, you don't pick your people; they come to you.
They come to me, yeah, out of the clear blue.
Sure. And the majority of them have had
positive experiences. Once they got beyond the fear, now there's fear involved quite
absolutely.
frequently. But when they allow themselves to go through that fear and just re-enter and embrace the experience, that dissolved. And they found a very profound, life-changing experience where they were never quite the same.
Sure.
One question I have for you, Dana. A lot of, just kind of go back a few years, when a lot of the vets left Vietnam, they were going through what was post-traumatic stress syndrome. Have you found any of your clients fitting into that guideline at all?
Oh, yes, very much so. Yes, I mean, they bear many of the attributes of the post-traumatic stress victim. Very much so.
Because a lot of the research that I've done on the abduction phenomena found that these people are sincere, with above average education, along with questions that some of the well-known abduction specialists out there, like Bud Hopkins, John Mack, even Ray Fowler, in their books, they'd question the individual. Any books on UFOs or the movies, something that's not going to, so their mind can replay, what they've read or what they've seen. And a lot of these people don't have any connection with, watching movie after movie on UFOs or spaceship or Star Wars, Star Trek. But these are people that are having actual experiences, and they find that these people are actually sincere in what they believe. And if, the experience would go to a court of law, it would be proven that this is what they're going through.
Well, yeah, and just think, if a person is in a panic, they're sweating, they're heavy breathing, they're squirming around, this is real. I mean, whether they read books or not, I think we need to respect these people for what they're experiencing.
And I know there's going to be a lot of callers out there that think the abduction phenomena is something that the station here had just produced, but it's not. This is an ongoing phenomena, and it goes back many, many years. In fact, just watching the screen there, the statistics on the abduction phenomena just in the past years has increased year after year. So it is real. There are a lot of people out there that are experiencing the same thing.
And I find naysayers that bring up the the negative reports and their sayings, they haven't done much research. They haven't cracked a book. They just like to sit back and say, well, this doesn't happen. And you know, for me, it was a UFO sighting. That's what got me into this. I can understand if someone who has never seen or experienced a happening of this nature to be skeptical. But if you haven't read a book or if you haven't, you know, done your homework on this, to sit back and just be pessimistic about this whole thing, you're really doing yourself a disservice and making yourself not that pleasant of a conversation. Yes, Patty.
Cosmo, I'd like to say that from my own experience, I've never, like I say, been harmed or had any fear to start with. And I've been told that if you don't expect that, then there's no harm going to come to you. I think when I, number one, go into a trance in hypnosis, I do this intentionally to connect with someone who can be of service somehow to humankind. So I am looking for a connection of someone who can help. I'm not out there, I've never been taken or abducted, and in fact that word would be foreign to me. I go willingly, and I believe that, well, possibly at least, anyone who's ever been abducted, perhaps on some level of consciousness, has had a willingness or a contract or an agreement to say they would go so far to in an experiment or whatever. I don't believe that any life form on any dimension has the right or does possibly whip in and take someone out of bed or take them off the face of this earth without any connection prior. That's always a possibility. With myself, I'm open and I'm looking for connections to help us. If it's simply horror stories of someone being on an examining table helping someone else, what's the point? If we're all in this together and we're all going for the one, something has to be given back to humanity in at least anything that I've experienced, and it's all been good. I, for one, have asked to connect and go willingly. I've never been abducted, but it's easy for me to link into other beings and other species, whatever you want to call them. And I don't think there's such a thing as an alien, or maybe we're it.
That would be that. Well, that is your opinion, of course. There are people out there who find this a very frightening experience. They do not wish to have it repeated, and it does. It happens to them repeatedly. Dana, a summation?
The word alien is kind of a funny thing. It's kind of a joke around the galaxy that humans are the only ones who are calling these beings alien. They come here and they say, "Who are you calling an alien? We live here too."
And this is what you've heard other abductees say.
It's sort of come through the airwaves. Okay.
Sure.
It's a big joke in the galaxy that we call all those beings alien.
I see what you're saying about. I understand the narrow-mindedness of the human race. That's what you're saying.
What would they call us?
Yes, exactly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to about wrap it up for the Cosmic Connection today. What we're going to do is I'd like to show one more. This photograph right here is the missing Earth formation. This is a formation that Ilis has brought to my attention. For those of you out there who are interested in astronomy, you're looking at the sun in the center, Mercury, Venus. You'll notice there is no circle for the representation of Earth with Mars on the outside. For those of you who are into or understand astronomy, from what I understand, that this formation can be found on a planetary schematic in the years of 29 to 2012 or thereafter. What I'd like you to do, she's asked me to look it up. I've looked it on my planetarium, on my computer. I could not find this particular formation. So if you'd like to help her out, please let the Cosmic Connection know. You may write to us at Post Office Box 86186, Portland, Oregon. And I'd like to say that Jan Bennett of the band Osiris will be playing at the Mount Tabor Pub, and that will be March 31st at the Mount Tabor Pub. And also I'd like to announce that British Steel will be playing Friday, January 26th at EJ's, and Tuesday, February 6th at the Satyricon. Also like to thank British Steel and the War Pigs and Jan Bennett of Osiris. And we have some Father Mary CDs if you'd like to write in, and cassettes. I'd like to thank Billy Goodman, our great sponsor, the La Costa Mexican Restaurant, and Roberto Aguilera. Billy Goodman, my friend, I want to thank you very much. Until 2 weeks from today, that will be February 4th. I'm Cosmo from the Cosmic Connection. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening.
Going down.